Good evening. Jotted down a few thoughts I want to share with you this evening. Brief thoughts. So, tonight I want to talk about love. You think about it, it's one of the most important aspects of our lives here as humans. Us humans, we give a lot to love and to be loved. You've seen some people will die for it, some people will kill for it. I mean, a lot of people do anything for it. So it's highly important to us humans. And it's highly important to God as well. If you look at Matthew 22, verse 36 through 40, says, Master, which is the greatest, what is the great commandment in the law? Greatest commandment in the law. Jesus said unto him, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. This is the first and great commandment. And the second is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets. So, God says not that the rest of the laws were not important, but he says these are the two most important. Love. And furthermore, as I look at 1 Corinthians 13, verses 1 through 3, he says, Though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels, and have not charity, or love, I am become as sounding brass, or a tinkling cymbal. And though I have the gift of prophecy, and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and though I have all faith, so that I could remove mountains, and have not charity, I am nothing. And though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burned, and have not charity, it profit me nothing. So you tell by this verse that it doesn't matter what we do, what we say, if we don't have love behind it, it means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. So a lot of us are, in the world. We're not to be of the world, but we're in the world. And so we are exposed to a lot of things. We're exposed to people at work. We involve ourselves in social media. We hear the news and everything. And people talk about a lot of love. The world talks about love. And so I kind of look at that and really, what does the world consider love? And so, I don't know, I just, again, jotted down a few thoughts here. And when I look at what the world says is love, I kind of glean from it that, it's kind of a signal, from one person to another so they can show others or let people see how virtuous they are. It's kind of their way of advertising how good of a person they are because I'm so loving. Okay? Some people think it's the nice things you say to people. So maybe people will be nice to you. Kind of a self benefit type of love. A lot of people in the world, it's a feeling that you have, and it really doesn't really need any action behind it. So an actionless love. Tolerance, this is my favorite one. Hey, I'm loving because I'm tolerant. No matter what you may do, I'm tolerant. That shows my love. I think that's the worst, actually, in my opinion. If anybody knows me, I'm kind of a tough love guy. That's kind of, I don't know. My family sees that, but I would put that out to you as far as which is more loving. Allowing someone to continue with their bad behavior and tolerating it, or me kind of calling them out on it and hopefully they'll correct their bad behavior. I don't know which one's more loving. I tend to think that the tough love is a little bit more loving. But the best way to sum all this up, when I look at the world and their view or their version of love, it's phony. Absolutely phony. It's a lot of it's for show. A lot of it's to put themselves out there to, look to others as they're something. But I look at it as phony. Now I turn to God's definition of love. And I don't know of any other verse in the Bible. I don't know of anything that you could read that any human has ever put down on paper that could better sum up true love than what you see in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verses 4 through 7. And I'm going to read that here. It says, charity again, love. Charity suffereth long and is kind. Charity envieth not. Charity vaunteth not itself, is not puffed up, doth not behave itself unseemly, seeketh not her own, is not easily provoked, thinketh no evil, rejoiceth not in iniquity, but rejoiceth in the truth, beareth all things, believeth all things, hopeth all things, and endureth all things. Sometimes we're in the world, we can get kind of caught up in what's going on, and we can maybe start having thoughts that, of people that are around us, and we can start kind of acting like the world. And it's great to have verses like this that can give us hope that there are people that actually love. But, you look at this verse, and it's very refreshing, and it's something that helps ground me, and I hope by sharing this with you, it can help ground you too. But it kind of gives you reprieve from the world. As a human, think about these two different views of love. They are just in total opposite of one another. And that's what kind of God has told us all along, is that the world and I don't get along. We're completely different. You have to hate one and love the other. There's no other way. And there's no other more stark contrast than what you see in the world's definition of love and what they think is love and what they put out as love and they advertise as love, and then what God actually says is true love. Think about this for a second. Even if you weren't a Christian, which one of these types of love would you rather have or be on the other side of? I look at God's power, His wisdom, and I look at this verse and it just amazes me. Think about putting yourself as someone receiving this type of love or giving that kind of love. And you can't help but think that is true love. I don't care if you're a Christian or not. So, what a wise and powerful God we have. That He actually, we got a lot of humans around here that really think there's something, and they really, in essence, think they know more than God. But you could just tell by this verse, He knows us humans better than we know each other. And so, anyway, there's just a few thoughts that I wanted to share with you. In the Bible, God talks about love. The Bible is love, okay? And what's great and powerful about God is not only does He say it, but He actually does it. And I can't think of any other action of love. He showed it in the ultimate way when He allowed His Son to come and die on our behalf. I take a look at that example and I think, could I, give my child's life to help someone else for the greater good of mankind? Man, that's an extremely high level of love I can't even comprehend. But God did that. So to me, it just amazes me that not only the wisdom of what God thinks is true, pure love, and Him actually showing it in action to us. So, and why did He do this? Why did He allow His Son to die on the cross? So that we could have an opportunity to be with Him forever in paradise. So tonight, you have an opportunity to be baptized. Baptism is the step that actually puts you in fellowship with Christ. And at that point, you have the opportunity to be with him in paradise. Tonight, you'll have an opportunity to have that opportunity. And if you've already been baptized, maybe you've fallen away, maybe you're struggling, this is an opportunity to come forward, ask for prayers of the church so we may help strengthen you. Show you a part of what God's true love is. If you are subject to the invitation, please come forward as we stand and sing.